So that's the matcha.
Modern man does not have an inbuilt desire for the taste of alcohol, and there is no scientific evidence that people are attracted to the smell of alcohol. How can we explain the global success of this molecule? What makes it so popular? The popularity of ethanol is linked to its psychotropic capacity. When consumed, it induces changes in perception, sensation, mood, and consciousness.
Oh wow, very refreshing.
The ethanol molecule passes quickly through the stomach wall, and as soon as the blood flows leads it to the brain, it affects certain receptors and modifies and boosts or decreases nerve messages, even when consumed in moderate doses. The state of intoxication caused by alcohol can be felt within minutes of consumption. What exactly does being drunk mean? Most people have their own definition of the difference between being a little tipsy and completely drunk. Scientists, however, find the term drunk far too vague a concept. Clinically speaking, the consumption of alcohol causes 4 different phases of intoxication. The first phase is disinhibition and is pleasant and enjoyable.
First of all, people experience early disinhibiting effects, then anxiolytic effects. This causes a type of social disinhibition. People tend to become more talkative and to interact more easily.
Phases 2 and 3 aren't quite as pleasant.
Then, as consumption increases, motor behavior is disrupted, as well as the ability to perform certain tasks. There is a progressive state of sedation until a person will find himself or herself in an alcoholic coma.
The fourth and final phase is better known as the hangover. What about animals? Do they get tipsy? Do they get drunk? In order to find out more, we head back to see our rodent friends at the laboratory. This time, the mouse does not have a choice. Each bottle features an alcoholic beverage. The mouse starts to drink when its thirst is greater than its instinctive aversion to alcohol. The mouse perks up immediately. It explores every corner of the glass cage with vivacity and determination. As the dosage is increased, it becomes difficult for the mouse to coordinate its movements. When it is increased even further, the mouse slips into a deep sleep. It speaks less, but a drunken mouse is remarkably similar to a drunken human. What about the minuscule fruit fly? Is it possible for a fly to get drunk?
It's remarkable. When I saw a drunk fly for the first time, I thought, oh my gosh, this is what I'm going to study.
The fruit flies are not given a choice during this experiment. This time, the alcohol is not given to them through a straw. It is pumped into the tubes in steam form. Their movements are filmed and analyzed by a computer program.
The phases of inebriation in the fruit fly are remarkably similar to what you or I or any animal would display in terms of behavior. The first reaction is that they will start becoming gradually more and more hyperactive, which is believed to be a reflection of the disinhibition that humans and other animals display when given relatively modest concentrations of alcohol. Then after a while they become uncoordinated and they bump into each other, they bump into the walls, they try to fly, they can't. And then as they get more and more alcohol, they become slowed down, they fall over, they try to get up. Essentially their motor coordination becomes very poor, and eventually they just fall asleep.
There is no doubt that all phases of human intoxication are once again represented.
I would say that all animals that have been studied for alcohol behaviors show some of these same phases. This sort of hyperactivity or disinhibition that is then followed by loss of coordination and sedation. It's universal.
The psychotropic effect of alcohol is universal. It is tempting to imagine that even animals appreciate being tipsy from time to time. After all, the initial effects of alcohol are far from unpleasant.
There's almost no real reliable observation of true drunkenness in the animal kingdom. There are anecdotal accounts of drunken parakeets, drunken monkeys, but they're very rare.
However, a study on waxwings, a migratory bird, which took place in North America in the 80s, found that they are affected by alcohol.
There is actually a really nice study showing death by alcohol in some birds called cedar waxwings, where people actually measured the blood alcohol concentration of recently deceased birds and showed very high concentrations. So these were fermenting fruits that the birds were eating, and they overdosed on alcohol. They couldn't fly, and they died. It's the only documented study of actual alcohol in the blood or in the physiological levels of alcohol that correlates with death by alcohol.
Research indicates that drunken behavior is uncommon in animals. It's rare for fruit, nectar, honey, or sap to have an alcohol content of 4 to 5%. The vast majority of these natural food sources contain less than 1% alcohol. As a result, the probability of consuming the dose required to get drunk is very low, even though some animals ingest up to 10% of their body weight of ripe fruit each day.
They don't eat continuously in one big bout the way we drink, for example, a large bottle of whiskey very quickly. It's much more evenly spread through the day.
In order for someone to become intoxicated, a certain amount of alcohol must be consumed during a short period of time, a technique that many people have honed to perfection. What about the animals that frequent the Bertum palms in the Malaysian forest? The alcohol content of the nectar can reach up to 4%, but the average flower contains less than 1%. If a human consumed a large quantity of an alcoholic beverage that has this level of alcohol content, then it would cause psychoactive effects. Do the sparkling nectar aficionados end up drunk after their nightly visits to the tree? Or do they become resistant to alcohol?
None of the visitors or flowers actually show signs of inebriation or drunkenness. So they seem to be all fine. That's true for the insect visitors and also for the vertebrates.
The pen-tailed tree shrew weighs only 50 grams and is a living enigma. It spends over 2 hours every night, longer than any other animal, consuming the alcoholic nectar that constitutes the main part of its diet. If we compare this to a human, it is the equivalent of consuming 9 glasses of wine that has an alcohol content of 12% during a period of less than 10 hours each night. Does the pen-tailed tree shrew take its alcohol better than you or I?
Our data show that the pen-tailed tree shrew would be drunken every third night.
Several years of observations have shown nothing. Not one tree shrew has been caught in a state of inebriation.
The finding that they have high intake but show no signs of drunkenness is linked to a higher metabolic tolerance, and that means to a more efficient alcohol detoxification.
Given its zoological position, the pen-tailed tree shrew could have passed on its alcohol resistance to humans.
The pen-tailed tree shrew is considered the least derived living mammal that represents our ancestors 55 million years ago.
Our ancestors were a variety of tree shrew that resembled the present-day pen-tailed tree shrew. Throughout evolution, they have consumed a highly alcoholic diet. Ethanol is a primary food source for the pen-tailed tree shrew, and they digest it easily. We are descendants of tens of millions of years of evolution. Pre-humans came after our ancestors, the apes. They were no longer dependent on the highly alcoholic Bertam palm nectar, but they regularly consume ripe fruit, and therefore alcohol in small doses. Modern man has also lost the ability to digest large quantities of alcohol. The alcohol molecule has marked tens of millions of years of zoological evolution. Our instinctive behaviors can be traced back through time.
Why are we so intrinsically attracted to alcohol? So one possibility is that we have built into our brains this historical association between consumption of alcohol and nutritional reward.
It could be said that the most enjoyable moment to consume alcohol is as an appetizer. Humans have a rather unique relationship with alcohol. Man does not consume alcohol for nourishment. He consumes it in order to reach a state of inebriation.